So as you've probably noticed, I'm not in my regular studio environment, and that's because I'm on holiday. But I still want to keep making videos. And if you're new here, welcome to the channel, and let's talk about the G9. I've been using the G9 for quite some time now, and although this camera came out in 2017, it's still a fantastic camera for video in 2022. Let's talk about why. The ergonomics on the G9 are phenomenal. This of course depends on the size of your hand and your personal preference, but for me the G9 is close to perfect, and it's weather sealed. It's still light enough to vlog with, whilst also having very advanced video features. The button layout is very well thought out in my opinion, and I like the fact that you can customize almost all of them just by pressing and holding the button you want to program. And you can pick the function you want, so you can set the camera up however you want to. The top dial is of course a very common thing on these types of cameras, but the dial underneath is, I think, a very good design. Regardless of the mode you're in, you can switch between, for example, burst modes and time-lapse or timer. I also very much like the top display, where you can see at a glance what your settings are. The fact that the G9 has an audio in and an headphone out port means that you have everything you need in terms of audio for your video, and the full-size HDMI port gives you the ability to use a bigger monitor or even record 60 frames a second in 10-bit 4:2 externally without having to worry about breaking your HDMI port. The G9 also has two SD card slots, which are both of the UHS 2 type. I personally use it for redundant recording, but you can also set it up to relay recording or video to one card and photos to the other, depending on what you prefer. In terms of video features and video quality, I think the G9 still holds up very well in 2022. It can shoot 4K in 10-bit 4:2 up to 30 frames per second. And if you want higher frame rates in 4K 10-bit 4:2, you can do that through HDMI to something like an Atomos Ninja. But if you don't need the 10-bit recording and you're fine with 8-bit, you can do all the frame rates up to 60 frames per second and up to 180 frames per second in variable frame rate. And I think this is enough for most people's needs in terms of resolution, frame rate and bit depth. But when you need some more room to play with, you can upgrade the G9 with the v-logl upgrade, and that not only gives you the v-logl profile, but also gives you additional exposure tools like the waveform. And although I think it's a bit weird that this is a paid upgrade of around $100, I think it's well worth for what you get. I do use v-logl a lot, and I like the flexibility that it gives me. I, for example, use it to match my G9 footage to my GH6 footage. Also, since firmware update 2.5, the G9 got the possibility to set your manual focus to linear with compatible lenses. That was a game changer for me for using manual focus, because now this fly-by-wire lens almost feels like a manual focus lens. And you can set the degrees of the focus throw, which is very nice. I was pleasantly surprised by this addition through firmware. With the up to 6.5 stops of stabilization this camera offers, it was ahead of its time when it came out, and it's still one of the best when it comes to stabilization. And especially paired with dual IS compatible lenses like this one, the 100-400, or the 12-60 Panasonic Leica, which is now on my GH6, you get incredibly stable results. And when you need to do a handheld shot, where you're not panning but just holding the camera, Turning on IS lock gives an incredible result. It's almost like the camera is on a tripod. You can check out my video about stabilization if you want to learn more about that. One of the strong points of the G9 is its battery life. One battery lasts a very long time. I have 3 batteries and I can easily go out for a day, leave the camera on without having to worry about power. In addition, you can use a power bank and connect it to the micro USB port, and that'll give you almost unlimited runtime. There are some things I'd like to see improved on the G9, but since this camera is probably not gonna endlessly receive firmware updates, this will probably be in a G9 Mark II or something. One thing I'd like to see improved is an extra menu option where you can set sensitivity and responsiveness of the autofocus like you can in, for example, an S5 or in the GH6. Maybe that's something that could be added through firmware. Another thing I'd like to see in a G9 Mark II is a similar screen design as on the S1H and the GH6, namely the tilt and fully articulating screen. I find myself using the GH6 with the tilt screen a lot when shooting handheld, and it's in videos like this where I film myself that I use the articulating part of the design and flip it to the side. Where at the launch the G9 was advertised as a stills camera, with all the firmware updates over the years, it really turned this camera into a full-blown hybrid camera that is very capable of shooting high-quality video. And not only does it shoot high-quality video, it also has the exposure tools you need, like zebras and waveform. Almost as feature-rich as a GH5, but with a faster processor, better autofocus, high quality, high resolution EVF, and in a lighter body. The price point, faster processor, and the ergonomics are some of the reasons why I picked the G9 over a GH5. And also because it was more likely that it would get firmware updates for a longer period of time, since it came out a bit later than the GH5 and has a faster processor. You can pick it up for around $1,000 or euros, and sometimes even less when it's on offer. I think it's a great price point for a hybrid camera that has this many video features, is very reliable and has great image quality. The ergonomics, the video features, the 10-bit recording, the option to shoot in v-logl, and the stabilization make the G9 into a very capable mirrorless camera for video today. And paired, for example, with the Panasonic Leica 12-60, it gives you a very high quality and versatile package. And let's not forget, it also takes great stills. What do you think about the G9 in 2022? Do you think it's worth it? Would you like to see any improvements? Let me know in the comments. I hope this video was helpful. If so, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel, and maybe hit that notification bell, and I hope to see you next time. Thanks for watching.